Social media in 2021 is a tough landscape to navigate. In today's online world, there is no get-rich-quick scheme for success. This video is going to help you achieve consistent and sustainable growth for the long run. Most of these tips are centered around Instagram as the central platform, but as you'll soon learn, it doesn't just stop there. Be consistent. The first piece of advice that I can give you in 2021 is just to show up. Post every single day. Post several stories, post an in-feed post, and comment on more people's content. Now, because the algorithm is no longer chronological, your content will only show up on people's feeds if they consistently engage with it. Have you ever noticed that out of the hundreds of people you follow, you only end up seeing the same 20 or 30 accounts? That's why. By having your content show up on people's feeds, your posts are more likely to get more views, more likes, more comments, more of everything. Even if you can't post an in-feed photo, then at least post a few stories. That way you're at least showing up in one form or another. Multi-platform coverage. This is the most labor-intensive tip that I'm going to suggest in this video, but it's for a good reason. Right now, you might be used to posting your content to, let's say, Instagram. But what about Twitter, and TikTok, and Facebook, and Pinterest, and YouTube, and LinkedIn, and Medium? By posting to just one platform, you're missing out on potentially huge audiences on other platforms, simply because your content doesn't exist there. It's a largely overlooked growth strategy to not cross-promote on other platforms. For example, some of your TikTok audience may also want to discover and enjoy longer-form content on your YouTube channel. Now, you might be thinking, how can I, as a human with only 24 hours in a day, accomplish such a task? Well, I'll talk a bit more about that later on in this video. Content pillars. This one is completely up to you, and it's my favorite to plan for. Let's say you're a female wedding photographer in New York City, for example. Her content pillars might be weddings or portraits or inspo photos around New York City, which could be considered travel. So having this framework will allow this photographer to create content with ease. And as long as her creative falls into one of these three categories that she has set out, then her niche will always stay consistent. When someone follows you, it means they've seen a post that they resonate with, and you want to deliver on that niche, vibe, and story that the audience is expecting, so they'll engage with your content. Use hashtags the right way. Yes, hashtags. Love them or hate them. You know why they exist and you know they work. So when you're first starting out, I recommend niching down on your hashtags so that they're as specific as possible. So if you are that female wedding photographer in New York City, some of the obvious hashtags that most people would use are maybe hashtag photographer, hashtag weddings. I mean, that's really it. But how about hashtag female wedding photographers NYC or female photographers NYC? They're a bit more specific, and this will allow you to grow an organic audience of extremely engaged and relevant consumers rather than just a bunch of random people who aren't super interested in your specific niche. And frankly, by using generic hashtags, your posts are more likely to get lost in the mix anyways. So I would make a list of all the hashtags that I want to use for each of my different content pillars. Say that one is travel, and one is lifestyle, and one is photography. I'll have at least 30 different hashtags for each content type, and when it comes time to post my photo, I'll gather about 30 hashtags from my pool that I feel suit my photo, and I'll post them in the comments right after that post goes live. Metrics that matter. As Instagram grew and became more and more saturated, a like or a comment started to have less and less value when it came to measuring a post's success. In 2021, the two metrics that will help you win the algorithm are saves and shares. In my experience, content that's likely to be saved is stuff that people want to remember. This could be something educational like a how-to, an inspo photo for a house reno, or a new hairstyle that they want to show the hairdresser. Content that is likely to be shared are things that people can immediately relate to. Things that are funny, things that people feel describe themselves, or things they want to do with someone else, like travel to a dream destination. If you can capitalize on saves and shares, then the algorithm will forever be in your favor. But who am I kidding? I don't make the rules. One thing that hasn't changed in 2021 is the need for consistency. All of these tips and tricks that we just discussed are going to be extremely effective for you, but it's hard to be consistent with posting. Yeah, hard work does pay off, but that doesn't mean you can't just make it easier for yourself. So my last tip, and arguably the most important tip, is to use a social media management tool to make your workflow much more streamlined and effortless. I use Later, which is a super powerful tool to help simplify my social media workload. And that's the key word here, it's simplify. Now here are some of my favorite features that I know will benefit you the most. With the visual planner on Later, I'm able to drag and drop content from my media library onto an actual calendar to plan a month's worth of content in minutes. Analytics are key. Whether you're looking at accounts on a macro level or just the success of a particular post, you can look at a slew of analytics that'll really help you break down what's working and what's not. User-generated content is a really fun feature that I use for a bunch of different reasons. You can pull content from across Instagram that use specific hashtags, @mentions, or even a URL. And this is just the tip of the iceberg in terms of everything that Later offers, so feel free to check out Later. The link will be in the description box below, and feel free to use the code Lizzie21 to get 1 free month of their growth plan, which, by the way, is the plan that I use. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you find lots of success with your social media journey, and may your socials grow as tall as the trees in a 100-year-old forest. Bye. See you in the next one. Did anyone catch Bear in this entire video? Oh, I woke you from your slumber. There it is.